What's going on, guys? It's Realms, and I got your reality update. Up first, ABC News finally reports West Coast evacuation may be possible due to the radiation from Fukushima. And for all those that live out in California, this is alarming news. I got a few friends out there and family members as well. But seeing how mainstream media isn't reporting what they need to be reporting, and the protests that have been going around the United States lately has pushed ABC News to finally report on something that's worthwhile. And in this video here, which I'm going to play for you guys, it breaks it down. Alright? And in related news, before I get to that video, it seems Fukushima fallout damaged thyroid glands in California babies. A new study finds that radioactive iodine from Fukushima has caused a significant increase in hypothyroidism amongst babies in California, 5,000 miles across the Pacific Ocean. Now, I'm going to read a snippet here for you guys, but I'll leave a link so if you guys want to read the rest of this. It says, confirmed cases of hypothyroidism defined as those with TSH level greater than 29 units increased by 21%, that's 3, in a group of babies that were exposed to excess radioactive iodine in the womb. The same group of children had a 27% increase in borderline cases. Contrary to many reports, the explosion of the reactors and spent fuel rods at Fukushima produced levels of radioactivity contaminations which were comparable with the Chernobyl release in 1986. Using estimates made by Norwegian Air Laboratory, it is possible to estimate that more than 250 PBQ, that's 200 times 10 to the 15th BQ of iodine 131, half-life 8 days, were released at Fukushima. That's an alarming amount. Also, a friend that lives out there, the lady I told you about that helped me out, Jane Strange, she said that they tested the car vents in cars and that 100% of the air vents that they tested were positive for radiation, folks. Alright, also I also got this article here, 8 signs that Fukushima radiation is blasting the oceans and the US. And I'm going to read these real quick for you. It says, tuna caught off the coast of California are contaminated with radiation. I did a report on that, how radiation is actively in the ecosystem. Something is causing herring to bleed from their gills, bellies, and eyeballs. Also, sockeye salmon populations at historical lows. For all those salmon eaters out there, bad news for you. Radiation off the west coast is expected to double in the coming years. Over the next 5-6 years, you can expect contamination to grow exponentially. Fish imported from Japan is already contaminated. Radioactive plume expected to reach the U.S. coastal water soon. A large plume of radiation is expected to begin following into coastal waters in the beginning of 2014, continue throughout 2016. If we're only thus far seeing the tip of the iceberg, what's to come could be truly frightening. Remember, guys, no fear. There is an epidemic of sea lion deaths along California coastline. About 45% of the pups born in June have died. We could see very high levels of cancer along the west coast due to contaminated fish consumption. So stop eating that fish. I told you a while back already not to eat anything from the Pacific Ocean. Unless you know the fish is being grown in a fish farm, you shouldn't eat it at all, folks.
The earthquake and tsunami that struck Japan in March of 2011 caused billions of dollars in damage and also wrecked the Fukushima nuclear power station on the coast. It continues to spew radiation, and some say an even bigger nuclear disaster could be coming. One that, as ABC News reporter David Ono explains, could threaten us here in the Bay Area.
March 11th, 2011. A 9.0 quake hits, the strongest ever recorded in Japan. And then, live from our televisions, we watched a monstrous tsunami annihilate the most prepared country in the world. I saw firsthand the enormous devastation. Entire towns wiped out, piles of rubble 30 feet high. But the third part of this disaster has the potential to be the worst of all, yet the damage is almost invisible. The Fukushima nuclear power plant continues to spew radiation 5,300 miles from Los Angeles, and still not far enough. Deformities are showing up in Japanese butterflies. The once thriving fishing industry near the plant has been shut down. Dozens of species labeled too radioactive to eat. And there's the human toll. 160,000 families have been forced from their radioactive homes, many still paying their mortgages, even though they'll likely never live there again. Fukushima is an enormous problem that's getting bigger.
There are several hundred tons of radioactive water that are pouring into the ocean every day.
That's nuclear engineer Dr. Arjun Makhijani, president of the Institute for Energy and Environmental Research, who confirmed to me that ocean currents are carrying the radioactive water to the west coast. According to a study published in the journal Deep Sea Research 1, it'll begin arriving this coming March. But Makhijani says, don't panic. The radiation will be diluted, and levels found on the west coast are very low and not considered dangerous so far. But the question is, will we really know?
I think we should be doing better monitoring of food. I don't think the EPA and FDA are doing a good enough job.
The scariest part of Fukushima is not what has already happened. It's what could still happen. Every day is a desperate effort to keep the plant from melting down. What's distressing for many is the Japanese government is not overseeing the cleanup. Tokyo Electric and Power, or TEPCO, is a private, for-profit company.
They don't want to take the long-term viewpoint and just to save the money.
Japanese nuclear engineer Yasel Yamada came to America to shine a light on what he feels is a flawed approach. He says TEPCO is over their heads.
The cleanup job is too large for their capability.
Yamada is one of many experts who say this is a bad solution and that a meltdown is still possible, like Dr. Jimmy Hara with Nuclear Age Peace Foundation and professor of clinical family medicine at UCLA.
Well, it's like the fox overseeing the chicken coop, and it's a huge problem.
TEPCO and the Japanese government seem to have refused international help. I think that's most unwise.
Fukushima is potentially the biggest ticking time bomb in human history. The damaged plant is in no condition to withstand another massive earthquake or tsunami. These are photos of what happened to the original 19-foot seawall when the tsunami struck. It was shattered and, as we all know now, provided little protection. The tsunami flooded the plant, cut off the power, and the meltdown was underway. The plant's defenses today are far less. Just last week, Dr. David Suzuki, one of Canada's top environmental scientists, stunned the audience when he described what will happen if a massive quake did hit today.
It's bye-bye Japan, and everybody on the west coast of North America should evacuate. Now, if that isn't terrifying, I don't know what is.
海上保安庁が撮影した黒い噴煙を上げている島の最新映像が先ほど入ってきました。
島が現れた場所は東京から南におよそ1000キロ。小笠原諸島の無人島西之島の南南東500メートル付近だ。
Well, as you've seen there, folks, we got another new island. Make that 4, at least that I know of this year. We have one in the Red Sea, one in Arabian Sea, one around Italy, and now one near Japan, folks. Up next, 10 Obama horror stories that are almost too crazy to believe. Now I'm going to just read a couple of these real quick, and you guys come here if you want and check it out. Now looking at the story by Jacqueline Proctor. Take for example Jacqueline Proctor of San Francisco. She and her husband are in their 60s and have been paying $7,200 a year for bare bones Kaiser Permanente health plan with a 5,000 person annual deductible. Kaiser told us the plan does not comply with Obamacare, and a substitute will cost more than twice as much, about $15,000 per year, folks. And it's supposed to be the Affordable Health Care Plan. Yeah, right. Also, look at Gloria Cantor from Florida, has cancer, 5 brain tumors and tumors in her bones, but she won't have the health insurance she has relied on for her treatment for much longer. Mrs. Cantor and her husband Jay told WFTV in Orlando that her insurance is being dropped in order to comply with Obamacare, which likely means that she won't be able to get on Obamacare and probably end up dying because it's full. Alright, and I'll leave this link so you guys can check out the rest. Up next, the John Moore Show, 11/20/2013, with special guest Professor James McKinney. And I'm going to play a clip for you guys, but you guys can come here and check it out. I'll leave a link for the full interview.
Well, Comet Ison continue grow in energy. The disinformation coming out of the government is that, oh, they hope it breaks up. It developed some what we call wings. It's just, if you look at my original papers from 1979, this is just part of the comet structure in the plasma discharge comet model, the way it electrically draws in the material from outer space. So it's developed secondary tails, but they're symmetrical. And of course, standard science says, oh, these are jets. Well, jets don't develop perfectly symmetrical. And then they say, oh, this must mean it's breaking up. Well, no, it's not breaking up either. But it's heading in on its way. It's on a dive towards the sun right now, and that'll be completed actually next week, in about around Thanksgiving Day. Actually, Comet Ison has slowed down a little bit, so I don't really know if it's going to crash into the sun, or is it going to sweep around the sun and continue on, because it's dropped down in its orbit. It's slowed down, it's dropped down a little bit in its orbit. But anyway, it's a day-to-day thing, watching solar flaring. People ask, oh, will it create a flare that'll cause power outages? It's like, we have to wait and see on a day-to-day basis.
Talking about solar flaring, at the moment the sun is quiet, KP index is low, so everything's looking good. Chance of X flare is at 1%, chance of M class is at 20%, but we can expect once these sunspots hit the side where Ison's going to make perihelion that they will most likely give off a solar flare, just like as the departing group did. And you can expect Ison to intensify in brightness as well. Alright guys, up next, taking a look at some pics from the fireball seen in Oregon in the morning over there. Pretty amazing shots. I also have the video linked down below if you guys want to check the video on this as well. Alright, checking the earthquake scene, we took a 4.3 in the Pagan region. Yesterday we took like a 6-pointer, 6.1. Also we took a 3.5 at a 7-kilometer depth in Ohio. And checking the extinction protocol, they have nothing but volcanoes listed. Check it out. Pause it if you need to, because I'm running out of time. See this in Indonesia? None but volcanoes, folks. And then people think we're not nearing the end. Apocalyptic torrential rains wreak havoc on the Italian island of Sardinia, killing 18 on the 19th as well, folks. And at the moment we have no buoys in event mode. And at the moment we have 51 fireball reports from the 19th to the 21st. And we took a GRB out of Scutum constellation. Also we have 47 fireball reports on the 20th that intersect Earth's orbit. That's probably why we've seen the one over in Oregon. And we have 1,439 potentially hazardous asteroids on the 21st, guys. Alright, so heads up for that one. Also, if you didn't know, make sure you come over here to Mark Realms and subscribe to my backup channel, because if you didn't see my last video, some YouTuber that's supposed to be a truther hit me with a copyright strike. Alright,